Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Sako mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, the celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land's spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Ambazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within the emblem tells the story of southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities. Each page imbued with the hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia.
Ambazonia's Independence Day 2023. Resilience unveiled. Ambazonians worldwide showcase heritage with pride in the October 1st, 2023 Independence Day commemoration. Defiant after 7 years of conflict. October 1st Independence Day commemorations this year was simply unique. It was a defiant jubilation. Ambazonia's 7-year stand for sovereignty captured a global spotlight.
Indeed, as the crimson hues of dawn crept over the verdant hills of Ambazonia, the air was already pulsating with the rhythm of unwavering resistance. October 1st, 2023 marks the 7th anniversary of what has been a bold assertion of identity and demand for autonomy that has captured the world's attention.
The people of Ambazonia, with a spirit as unyielding as the mountains that cradle their homeland, gathered in a defiant celebration of their steadfast journey towards self-determination. Despite years of struggle and the formidable challenges that lay ahead, their collective resolve remains a beacon of hope to all nations.
It was not just the Ambazonian Restoration Forces demonstrating and showcasing military might. It was a nation that less than a decade ago was at the precipice of nullification, now demonstrating military might and willingness to be totally free from occupation.
Such a great evolution in a revolution we have witnessed within a very short time. Remember, these volunteers we now call the Ambazonian Restoration Forces started with their bare hands, protecting the women and children of Ambazonia from the French Cameroon's brutality. We saw them evolve from that into Dane guns, and look at where they are today.
The interesting part for me was how these guys were able to coordinate the civilian population. We saw the Ambazonian Restoration Forces leading dance groups, giving speeches of encouragement and sharing food with the local communities. It was simply heartwarming.
To even think of the fact that these restoration forces are the same forces Yaoundé and her proxy media wants the world to believe that they are oppressing their people. On the contrary, we saw a local population that felt safe in front of our armed men. That alone is proof of itself that I don't think words can provide.
When images from different nations in the world started popping in our different fora and social media platforms, I couldn't resist but get lost in the beauty of them.
It is one thing to watch such beautiful images, but it is another thing to be actively involved in the making. Just looking at these images and you literally want to relive the moment, where comrades who have never known each other meet up for a unique experience.
The nostalgia, the faith of freedom was rekindled. It was not just the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, nor the protest marches in different parts of the world like Berlin, Austria, Brazil, the United States, and more. The fearless demonstrations at the home front were from almost every local government area and county.
Our people at the home front, especially in the areas that were not heavily militarized by the forces of occupation, came out in large numbers and colors, with both old and young, dancing, marching, and enjoying traditional music, food, and fresh beauties. Home, sweet home for them.
Watching the fearless demonstrations at the home front from almost every local government and county was really exhilarating and lifted my spirit.
Both young and old danced, marched, and enjoyed traditional moments. The freedom to fully express ourselves in our colors and rhythms. Looking at these images happens to be a shocking reality in our day.
The question on everybody's lips was, did you get your Amba wrapper? It was one unique aspect of the October 1st celebration this year, which was literally the Ambazonian historic cloth or the wrapper.
Anticipation was high, and everywhere people were talking about the Amba wrapper. It was like the new emblem of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, and it was almost as if there would be no October 1st commemoration without it. On the day of the celebrations, everywhere was illuminated with this symbolic wrapper. The amber wrapper was selling like hotcakes. A newly declared holiday, the UN Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day, was commemorated. The declaration of this new holiday by President Sako, the United Nations Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day for September 30th, 2023, came with its own energy, and Ambazonians were passionate about it.
And like President Sako explained, on that day, 62 years ago, the United Nations handed over the Union Jack to Cameroon instead of Foncha, thereby facilitating the annexation of southern Cameroons. It was crucial to officially recognize this day so that future generations will revisit the truth and understand the historical significance of this event.
On that note, Ambazonians eagerly took to the streets of the world with posters and placards saying, "The UN Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day." It was such a beauty to watch.
Military manifesto of the Ambazonian Restoration Forces at home front in combination with the diaspora manifestations. The proper coordination showed some great sense of leadership and a force that was loved by the people.
Refugees received gifts, a positive representation of the Ambazonian government's support and willingness to serve its people at all levels.
It has always been the intention of President Sako to extend the celebrations to Ambazonian refugees, not only in neighboring Nigeria, but in other parts of the world. As you can see, they receive support and solidarity from the government. This display of care and inclusivity highlighted the government's understanding of the fact that the impact of the conflict is not just limited to the people at the home front, but all Ambazonians.
The global celebrations, I would say, was one very strategic way to rally support from the international community.
The international community is beginning to engage with the legitimate Ambazonian government.
The Ambazonian people are unified in their quest for freedom.
The display of strength and enthusiasm for their duties by the Ambazonian Restoration Forces sends a potent message that La République du Cameroon should not ignore. If Cameroonian authorities continue to delay and fail to engage in negotiations properly as they mourn their casualties that is an increasing number, it will not be long before Ambazonia decisively expels them from the Ambazonian national territory, and such an outcome will be marked by their utmost humiliation.
The atmosphere of the October 1st commemoration in Ambazonia was one of hope, resilience, and unity.
The Ambazonian people are determined. Ambazonia is free.
Happy New Year, fellow Ambazonians. You're welcome to this very important broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, on November 30th, 2017, a declaration of war changed the lives of the peace-loving people of Southern Cameroons forever. As they continue to defend themselves against the brutal occupation and usurpation by French Cameroon, they are also enduring a humanitarian crisis. Tonight, we bring you a program that shines a light on the collateral humanitarian damages in Ambazonia 7 years into this devastating war. In the midst of the chaos and devastation caused by the war in Southern Cameroon, the resilience and strength of the people of Ambazonia shine through. Today, as we delve into the heartbreaking yet inspiring stories of those affected by the conflict, we're going to explore President Sako's efforts to seek solutions and to bring hope to a war-torn region. I'm talking about the sub-African region of Samak. We will be profiling the government's humanitarian endeavor in its entirety and also exploring the Department of Women's Services humanitarian outreaches of 2023 with a focus on the Christmas outreach this December that just passed. This is a story of courage, humanity, and the unwavering spirit of a people determined to overcome the challenges they face. In a world where the voices of the oppressed often go unheard, tonight's program brings to you the raw and emotional reality of the people of Southern Cameroon. Like I mentioned earlier, the declaration of war on November 30th, 2017, actually changed the lives of Ambazonians forever. And even as we speak, they continue to endure the brutal occupation and usurpation of La République du Cameroon. As we shine a light on the collateral humanitarian damages in Ambazonia, it's been 7 years into the devastating war. We're inviting you watching us now on Facebook and on YouTube to join us in also seeking solution by participating monetarily, spiritually, and emotionally. We're going to look at President Sako's response. This is a story that needs to be heard. And together we can be the difference these brave people desperately need. Join us as we explore President Sako's response and as he seeks solutions. Join us as we profile the women's department of the government in their endeavors of whatever they are doing with humanitarians, and we hope that other departments will come up to give a report in whatever they do based on the president's vision. We also are delighted to say that we will be challenging every government here, department, to present to us this year of focus, a blueprint of their departments moving forward. The show will begin with myself, Dr. Patience, and Barrister Tim Besea right after the break. Stay tuned.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Yeah, good evening and welcome once again, Barrister Tim Besea. There's somebody having a feedback sound. Perhaps you want to consider to shut down any background music. I don't know if it is from you, Barrister Besea. and Dr. Patience. Happy New Year. How are you enjoying 2014? This is a year of focus. How you're enjoying it?
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, Director Paddy. Happy New Year, Barrister
Yeah.
team. Happy New Year, fellow Ambazonians watching us. Yes, it's the year to shine and focus on the President's vision of total liberation and recognition. So we are happy to be alive. We thank God for his many blessings. And to answer your question briefly, my motto in life is my health is my wealth. So I all ask God to keep me healthy for 2024. Thank you.
That's great. Barrister Mbesa, I would like to hear from you before we get into the crux of the matter for today. Barrister Mbesa, I think he's
Well,
frozen.
this
You're kind of frozen. Okay, go
you
ahead, please.
are you getting me now?
Yes, loud and
Oh
clear.
well, welcome to 2024. As the lady said, in the motto, my health is my wealth. You can expand that to be our health is our wealth. That is the health of Ambazonia. And rare health, rare healthy living starts from the womb of a woman. Because if the pregnancy is unhealthy, you will not even come after the womb, you will not survive. Then say that Ambazonia, which was pregnant maybe in 2023, has given birth to yet a baby, a healthy one, in 2024. We have to nurse it into adulthood through the guidance, the directives of this government. Welcome to 2024. Floodgates are open for us. The strategy is ours. The actions are ours. And so welcome to 2024. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, televiewers. Thank you, Ambazonia.
That's great. So, Dr. Patience, our focus this evening is on the collateral, the collateral humanitarian damages that have been caused by the war declared against us by BIA in 2017. But we will look more on not just on that collateral humanitarian damages, we'll be looking on the government's response. And I understand that you are a custodian of the president's vision in this regard. Just to begin, could you give to us a resume of what your department has been able to accomplish um, prior to this year of focus?
Thank you so much, Director Paddy. The Women's Department came to existence after ASSC 1 in Berlin, and in 2019, the president created the department officially, and I was honored to be made the first Secretary of State for that department. At that time, there was a lot of excitement. We had a large population of women in this liberation, where we called it struggle at that time. So I would say we had a large population of women in the struggle. and the excitement was really in the air. And these women were willing to donate fundings by themselves. So that first year when we did a Christmas outreach, funds came mainly from the women. They dug into their pockets and gave money for us to help women on the ground. And what we did, as a matter of fact, was we categorized women in different groups to be able to raise funds for the different counties. So our very first fundraising, which was dependent on what the women could raise from themselves, came up with something, I think, a little bit about $5,000 or something less than that. And these monies were used by women on the ground to buy food like rice, salt, soup, and maybe fish to share with some women that were really suffering. So that was one of our very first initiatives. And as the years went by, remember 2020, we launched the book, Echoes of Women's Tears, and we raised quite a bit of money from that. And that book helped us to be able to fund some initiatives for war widows, where we really gave them money to start businesses. You know, we went with that famous saying that you want to teach somebody how to fish for them to fish for themselves. You don't want to give them fish all the time. So based on that, we were able to give quite a large number of women some basic capital to start their own businesses and take care of themselves. As the year went further, 2021, 2022, we know the struggles of this government. We know about the coup attempt and everything that ensued from that. But the department was still able to raise funds thanks to willing donors, where at this time now we branch out and reach out to Ambazonians at large, to friends of Ambazonians, to people in the international community. And I would say that, I know your question was mostly about previous initiatives. I would say that in 2023, when we embargoed on this particular Christmas fundraising, we set a high goal for ourselves. Our goal was really to raise $15,000. But our women are tired. Some of them were able to just give the basic that they had to give, which is $50. Some of them did not even give the $50. But they reached out to a wide population, Ambazonians, friends of Ambazonians, and we were able to get a little bit over $11,000. Now, this is, you're reminding me about the Refugee project. So this is something that will happen in the middle of the year, May, June 2023. And at that time, we were thinking about, around Mother's Day, we always appreciate our mothers. So we were trying to do something close to Mother's Day. And this is the first time that we embarked on the project where we gave cash. But I don't want to, say a lot before we get into the specifics. So those were some of the things that happened in 2023. We also raised funds for some of our the wives of some of our prisoners of conscience that are based in the diaspora, to just give them a little bit of token to say to them that we are with them. But I must say that this particular video that you're showing, which was a fundraising from the summer of this year, around May, June, July, where we reached out to the elderly, I must say that the only reason this was feasible is because we had somebody that was trustworthy, that was dependable, that was able to take physical cash and say, I'm putting 10,000 naira in an envelope, and that envelope had 10,000 naira. So we depended on this individual to carry this initiative. And to him, Mr. Wilson, I say thank you so much. Thank you so much for being willing to carry out this humanitarian gesture, because it was a sacrifice to travel for days and days. But we'll get to that later on. I hope I answered your question briefly. I don't want to say things that I still have more to talk about the Christmas project. Thank you, Dr. Paddy.
Yeah, thank you for that elaborate intro there. I would say you nailed it in the head. Barrister Mbesa, maybe you want to react before we move on.
Well, I may react only in terms of not being a member of the department. But let me say this. From what the secretary has said, is all true. Remember that 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, I remarked, and I'm still remarking today, that no rule lasts for less than 10 years. The average life option is 10 years. So it's not sustainable for you and me, because by and large, 85% of the women, if not more, are basically poor. If they have any pay, they live on weekly pay, wages. They have children to feed for themselves. They have husbands, they have wives. And so that money is not enough. So if somebody can carve out $50 today, they might not be able to do it tomorrow. They might not be able to do it next year. And so my advice would be that we are doing a lot from our individual personal contribution. That's too much. We have to continue doing it, but we have to look for somewhere where we can get something to support us, to sustain us for a while. And by this, I would add strongly that the department looks for other resources. The best resource I would advise them now as women is to go register with the UN Women. There's a group called the UN Women. It's a powerful group. They do all that assistance. They are now helping in Gaza. They have help in Afghanistan. The voice of the woman is very, very powerful worldwide. That group was essentially created to look for gender equity, but they've expanded. They have different branches there now that help women in difficulty, that help women at times of war. They are all there with women in times of war. If you see those pictures of those old mothers, they are women. They are old, but they are women. A woman is not as strong as a man. She cannot run like me and you. So that will appeal a lot. Even if we got $10,000, $20,000 is not, but if we all had 10, that would probably alleviate our situation. Madam, strongly advise, go look into UN Women's Group. They are there. If you Google, you will find it there. They are in Gaza. They are in Afghanistan. They are everywhere. They come in times of war. The only thing that you require, if you contact them, is to show that you have an organization on the ground. For example, if there are women, most of these girls who are being raped, who are getting pregnant at the age of 15 in Douala, in Bafoussam, these are just victims of war. We should be able to organize them somehow. They will need some protection. People come and offend them now.
Okay.
They will need education.
We're going to get into
oriented. They speak in the street. Bad. So that will be my advice initially as we move on. Thank you.
Amazing. We're going to get into the depth and the intricacies of that. But I'd like us to begin. You've given an overview of what your department has been able to do. I hope I'll be able to have Dr. Tita. He's not able to join us because of some challenges. I hope I'll be able to have him before we conclude humanitarian. And we also have different departments also come to say what they are doing because it's important and we get to inspire our people when this is done. So I would like to get to you, Dr. Patience. Maybe we should start with this whole idea of the outreach, the Christmas outreach. We're going to take it from Adagon 1, Adagon 3. And there's some, I will be interjecting from time to time for Barrister Mbesa to react because there are a lot, he's mentioning the UN Women, which is a United Nations agency, and the behavior of UNHCR, which is another United Nations or the main United Nations agency in the ground towards our cause is quite questionable. And he has an understanding when it comes to the politics of that. So that's why he's here. And he's going to be commenting on all of that. So before that, just talk to us how this whole thing came about, this whole idea, what you plan to achieve, and then we'll take it from settlement to settlement. We'll start with probably Adagon or Calabar and what has been able to we have been able to achieve, and then from there we'll get Barrister Mbesa's reaction. So talk to us. Did you meet up with this? What happened? Why did you choose to format the initiative the way you're doing it? And are you having a good feedback? So start with maybe any of the camps that you're willing to start, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you so much. Before I get to that, I just want to remark that, by the way, thank you, Barrister Tim, for your suggestion about young women. These are things that we've already thought about. Thank you so much. I just want to remark that on the 30th of December, when the president had the special day for recognition, the Department of Women's Service, the Deputy Secretary, Ma Prudencia Sumalong, and myself were not available, so that we could not, we were not able to come on during the time of the humanitarian portion. So only HSS was present, and this is an opportunity for us to really share with you what the department has done, and also to say that some names will be sent to the president for recognition per his instructions, because the Department of Women's Services has really done a lot this 2020, or I should say last year, 2023, to assist our embattled people. Now to answer your question about starting from one settlement, I would like for us to start with Calabar. In Calabar, we were able to, we had a budget. We are a team. We are in a forum, a team of women that we have decided on how much to break this money and what to give where. So we had allocated $4,000 for the refugees in Nigeria, and 3,500 was really specifics for direct distribution to the refugees, and $500 was left for.
Please talk. I'd like us to talk in millions, like the millions in Naira.
Oh, okay. Naira.
We give
Okay, so
understanding of what the
yeah,
people actually received. Yeah.
yeah. So that $4,000 was what, 400,000 Naira, right?
No, it was 4
Yeah.
million, 4 million.
Oh, 4 million Naira. Pardon me. So, yeah, I'm writing that 4 million on the piece of paper, but I'm saying something else. So, in terms of Calabar, we intended to give 10,000 Naira to each recipient, and that translated to 50,000 Naira for that settlement. And we had a team of people, one who was recording and giving out the money, and the other person was taking the pictures. So we had this team of 2 people who worked with the leaders in Calabar to make sure that everybody who was, by the way, you may want to know what the criteria was to receive the money. We decided to look into those who are pregnant women, with or women with little kids, women that are disabled, elderly people, disabled people, the vulnerable population. So those were the people that were injured or ill. Those were the individuals who were selected to participate in this Christmas outreach. So they all got 10,000 naira in their envelopes. And that is remarkable. Some of them made comments that this is the first time that they have gotten anything from President Sako or from our government. And they were very, very appreciative. I don't know if you want to play some of the audios or videos for people to hear exactly some of the comments, but that is exactly what happened in Calabar. So we were able to spend 50,000 naira in that one settlement.
Okay, that's so you that it was not 50,000, was it 50,000? That was 500,000. 500,000 was given to 50. You reached out to 50 according to the criteria that you gave. So so every individual received 10,000 naira.
Yeah, so that's 500,000 naira.
We actually have feedback in that.
Yes,
Okay,
talking about naira and dollars, I get confused.
Yeah, that's
Go
fine.
ahead.
Before we continue, I like us to just watch this video. It's about 90 seconds, and we'll be back. This is what actually happened in Calabar, and we'll move from camp to camp. There's a lot more, but this is just a summary.
Enjoy. How much you have? 10,000. How much you have?
Anything will happen. Healing, instant healing. God Almighty will continue to give you all the power, ability to conquer and to triumph the enemies.
Thank you. God bless. Sako, I thank you for remembering us. We were with no old. And as you also, God will make him to old like we.
Amen.
If demand for a life, let God give him.
Amen.
And 10,000 where you give us, we thank you. And God will bless you.
Amen.
So there's a lot more to come. That's just what happened in Calabar. And it's important for me to remark, based on the reports that we're having, that there are no settlements in Calabar. The refugees that happen to find themselves in Calabar, if they cannot rent expensive apartments or have friends that could host them, they are living in the bushes. So it was a huge challenge in Calabar from the reports we're having to identify these people, get the money across. Some of them don't have bank accounts. During the Christmas period, you had to pay money to obtain cash to give. So these were some of the challenges that went through. But Mbesa, you just watch those images. What do you have to tell us? We're moving on. I have a very challenging question for you anyway, but that will come much later. Just talk to us. If you just look at the love that is coming, somebody telling President Sako, as I'm old like this, you are sure gonna get old too for these 10,000 you gave to us for Christmas.
I think there's little or no doubt that the people are very, very excited. They're encouraged by what came to them. Even if it was a widow's mite, we must remember that at the introduction, we said it was people's individual contributions out of pocket. There was too much sacrifice for the suffering. But for the purpose of this discussion, and for strategic reasons, I would think that it's not to come out with certain figures. We are having difficulties converting this to that. It would be a more political, better strategy to say, for example, that we got maybe $100,000 and 20% went to Calabar, 5% went to the bond, and so on and so forth. That will save us the pain, because some people who live there, who could have merited something, might have been missed out for their own fault. They just got lost. So let us give these figures globally and in percentages, not individually. That will help us strategically. That back there, they will learn to belong to the group. So how did this $20,000 of 10,000 was it went to Calabar or to Adebang? Who are these people leaders there? They will go to sensitize the leaders. Not everybody probably had 10,000, depending upon the size of their family. But that is a secret thing to us. There's a strategy, not everybody had the same things. Some people miss for no fault of ours, even of theirs. So let us give these figures in terms of percentages and leave out the names. Those pictures speak for themselves. Whether that poor woman shouting there, whether you receive only 5,000, 1,000, even 100, is clapping, is dancing. And so it is. I think it's a good strategy. That's my advice for now.
That's amazing. One of the reasons why we decided to point out the figures was because what was given to them for one day surpasses what the UNHCR gives them for 3 months. The CBI that is allocated to Southern Cameroon's refugees in Nigeria is 3 times less than what the Women's Department under the President Sako's leadership did for one day. So it's important for us to recognize, but I think your correction diplomatically saves it right. So we'll be moving now into some of the other sediments like Adagon. Maybe after this image, I'll get you to make your comment. So we went to another settlement where cash was received by a lot of, that is Ukunde or something, Ukende settlement, Ukende. So let's see what happened there. We'll have a more elaborate report here because you could see a more organized structure of settlements. So stay tuned right after that.
Okay, yes. We'll take when I yes, now with the interior government.
How are you, Rebecca?
Okay. No.
Abba.
Who is it?
Oba Cecilia.
Okay. You may count.
Dr. Sako.
Amen.
Isham Emilia.
Present. You can confirm it's 10,000, okay?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The birth of Jesus Christ. May wanna be transformed and be transformers. May wanna continue to help us with all other partners. We then for you the 70 where they give we the 2,600 you know they again with the suffering. Blind people them, lame people them, they suffer for year. Not you know they for year. Job you know they. With the time when this money go help we even for this Christmas. Now this money go help we. Say me go chop. Papa God make it bless one. Papa God make heaven and ground make it bless one. And make it bless Are where it be we leader for year. And we brother we don't carry the video way. Papa God, may you send out your Holy Spirit. May you take control over us. And may you cover Dr. Sako with the blood of Jesus.
Amen.
The blood of Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Just like my elderly person has said, we appreciate so much. In fact, we lack some word to thank, but I think God has more.
Well, I thank on plenty. I know I lack words to even thank, because everything I try to do now is something where it don't make me get strong heart. But one thing I want to advise, I'll be 74 years old. Oh, this trouble will not start on today. All of us don't suffer for this trouble before. My advice now say, from beginning we don't talk say that God's ordained struggle. When the whole Bible, I know what is the meaning of God's ordained struggle. That means that struggle when God there for our front, it is struggle for us. Yes. Nobody will hit hand for his chest saying, me. Struggle, even with me, nothing will work like that. Now God is struggling. And how does God work? God works with those who walk in one accord. Yes. That division is causing problems. The way God to do it, finish his work. Yes.
Samuel and the women wings, I still hand them, all of them for God the hand, so that God could give you hand, it go flop. If President Sako Samuel, it could be president of president over the territory of Ambazonia. For now and forever.
Thank you. Mama, anybody?
Oman Margaret. Oman Margaret. Odule Joseph.
Dr. Patience, talk to us.
Well, they say that a picture is 1,000 words. You know, when you look at the picture, you see 1,000 words. Those pictures are really heartwarming. The people, let's remember that these are men and women that were living peacefully at one time in their homes in southern Cameroon. And because of a war that is no fault of theirs, were forced to evacuate and relocate and are now refugees that are not getting the support from the United Nations humanitarian body that they're supposed to get. So receiving this token from the Department of Women's Services, from the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, from the government of Southern Cameroon, it's really a magnanimous occasion. And you can see the joy in their faces, on their faces. You can see the joy in their hearts based on what they are saying. And some people will wonder why we did not buy food stuff and distribute. And I've spoken to quite a few of refugees, And they see that when the food stuff comes, they may get a cup or two of gari, a cup or two of rice, but that doesn't go a long way. Sometimes they're being given what they already have. If I already have gari and you come and give me more gari when I need rice, I don't really appreciate. I will not appreciate that gari that much. But if I'm given cash to buy what I want or need, then the appreciation is exponential. So these our brothers and sisters that are languishing in Nigeria appreciate cash over food material. And I think the Department of Women's Service has now resorted that our outreach to refugees will generally be in the form of cash. I should not say always, but I'll say general.
Discussion to patients about the method, the importance, and the purpose of the strategy. It's true we are evolving as we go, learning from our errors. But let's quickly rush through the reports so that we come into that debate on what is the best way of reaching and how many people can we reach out with this method, because there's also a question as to how many people will be able to receive. There's always a critique that comes with every formula that is employed. But before we get to that, let's move on to another aspect of it. I think this time we're going to be getting into Adagon 3 refugee settlement. Right after that, we will get your commentary, and then we get to the last sediment before we get into the debate.
Sako and the team. We the time una plenty because una get we in mind. We don't lament here, and but we see today say since last year we see una goodness where una come give something for our people them here, and this year there will be this year government for that one that last year. Una don't still fend again for we time una plenty. All those women, any side where they get sweat, they sweat themselves for bring them for we. May God replenish them. And any person where see them for road, if they Becky say make it give them. May that person help. May that person give them. Because they take true that they can't give we. Nothing way may I get them for Jeuna. And truly prayer be very essential. Because when we pray now, so God will take us for answer them. Answer we. Even we will chop the money, put us for our belly. May God bless you. Make some person pray for we. Amen.
Yeah, they won't give you this.
Thank God, today God don't bless we. He bless una today, go bless una, and go continue bless una. How una don't remember we can get with Christmas and with the happy. So God bless una and do una long life.
So that was it for Adagon 3. You could see bookkeeping. And we're going to get into the bookkeeping advantage, because now we have records of family members and individuals registered that have received something from the government and have acknowledged they received it and acknowledged it, to the tune of close to 300, more than 350 people. We'll get to that. Maybe you have a commentary in this regard, Dr. Patience.
No, I just want to highlight the fact that the previous settlement that was Okende, we did reach out. We did give a total of 100,000 naira, and this one now that you just showed, I believe is Adagon. We gave 50,000, because one of them we gave 50,000, another one was 100,000.
Just a quick question: How many people did you give in the previous? How many did you reach out to? Like how many?
So the previous, which was Okende, was 100. 100 individuals. And when
100
there's
individuals.
there's something that I need to
One,
clarify.
that means that is about 1 million naira. 1 million naira was distributed. Cash.
1 million naira. But I want to clarify this. Yes, naira. I want to clarify this, that there's another thing that we dealt with. We dealt with households. So sometimes you have people from a household represented so that the money trickles to the whole household, not just one individual. So that's something that we need to take into account, meaning that if 100 people benefited, it was 100 households that benefited. So others in the household benefited. Very important.
And this is intriguing. Don't you think households that are more, did you factor out to get the households based on their need and probably from feedback that you have to proportionate? For instance, a person who is just there with a wife or with a kid and someone who has 4 kids, and then you're giving them per household the same thing. These are some of the shortcomings. Have you been able to factor that out, or what you're going to do subsequently?
Absolutely. Those are shortcomings that sometimes, if you're not on the ground, you cannot react to right away. But I think that the coordinator of this program was savvy enough to be able to decide how to maneuver those difficulties so that the people that really benefited were those who were really supposed to benefit.
That's amazing. So we're going to move now to Adagon 1. And immediately after that, we'll get into the debate and the tasking questions that we all have to respond to. Let's get
can you? Okay. Congratulations. Yes. Good afternoon. How much are you? 10,000. 10,000.
Thank you. Any side we work, they work. God will do that.
Amen.
Amen. We walk in peace.
Amen.
Amen. Whatever we live, may God provide in abundance in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. They say people they walk up with Papa and they me hungry.
So these are blessings coming in there from Ambazonian refugees who received a Christmas gift from the government under the tutelage of President Sako and the custodians by the Department of Women's Services. Now we're going to get into the discussion. We will give an inclusive report in the days ahead. So much, the reports came in a little bit late. We wanted to give this report before the president's speech, but the reports came in a little bit late and we had to process them and to make them and to qualify them for broadcast. Now, Dr. Patience, I get to you. So I'll take you back to a question I just asked. Apparently, you have reached out with about 3.5 million to approximately 352 homes.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to say the homes have an average of 3,
Yeah.
so we're talking about just about 3,500 if we have to multiply it like that. just about 3,500 individuals would have benefited, which is laudable. I want to first of all say congratulations. But if we want to look at it from another light, that is just a scratch owing to the fact that we have hundreds of thousands of refugees suffering in Nigeria alone. I know you want to do more, and this is where you present to us a blueprint from the experience your department would have gotten. It's all about mobilizing resources. How are you going to get involved to do a little bit more? I think Barrister Mbese began by telling us one of the strategies, though I have a concern with it. Talk to us.
Okay. Yes, it is true that the number of individuals who benefited from this Christmas initiative is just a drop in the bucket. And if our goal is to be able to assist more people, then we have to think about another plan, because we cannot continue going back to Ambazonians year in, year out to ask for funding. Even though they are very they are giving people, our people are benevolent. They like to help. So I'm not saying that we will not reach out to them again. We will reach out to them again, because in the Bible it says it's better to give than to receive. So I know our people will not relent, because they've given in the past. With that said, it behooves this department to look for other ways of funding our people that are really in dire need of help. And the other way would have to be an international intervention. I would not pretend on air right now to say that I have, or the department has already decided exactly how to go about it. But believe me, in our past meetings over the years, we've always talked about how to be able to garnish funds from international supporters. It is tricky. It is tricky. And unfortunately, we do not really have an NGO that seems innocent, in the sense that it doesn't have the name Ambazonia linked to it. That is our shortcoming. This government has had NGOs in the past. There was Victoria Relief Foundation, and that got lost. Unfortunately, Hope Relief Foundation is not owned by the government any longer. So I'm not sure, but that's a challenge to all of us to find out how to get an NGO that doesn't have political connotation.
Before we get into that, I want to ask a question. I'm watching Ochiba Nelson here has a concern. He's saying that how can refugees say this is the first time they're receiving something from President Sako? I want to comment to that, but I would like you as carry on an activity on the ground to talk to us. Don't you feel uncomfortable when a refugee would say this is the first time we are receiving something like this?
Yes, I am surprised, for one thing, because we've seen pictures of reach out in the forms of food items. Even last year, 2022, the Department of Women's Service sent over 3 million naira, and that money was used to purchase food items and other things. So somebody benefited. Maybe those who benefited did not have the opportunity to
The people
say
who were supposed
something.
to get didn't get anything. Yeah.
Yes, maybe they didn't have the opportunity to go on camera and appreciate the government. I do not know. But they were given the opportunity to do so. And that is probably one of the reasons why we thought that a cash intervention is better than food items.
Okay, just so we get it clear for those who are watching us, I might be might misunderstand or misconstrue what is happening. Now, saying in generic terms that they have not received something from President Sako is an overstatement. But intricately, when you're talking about what individuals get, you can't tell an individual who saw a video and a picture of food and did not partake to say that they received something. So it is about learning from where we are coming. And by the way, I really would like to thank everybody who has the heart, who has participated so far. But a great thing about a movement or a system that succeeds is when you're faced with your challenges, you learn from mistakes and you choose to correct them. If this is bearing fruits, though it has its own shortcomings, which I'm pointing some of them out, then it may be what I proposed to you about a week ago, Dr. Peshin. I said, from the reports I'm getting, because we actually, ABC sent people on the ground, including the people you sent. So we got the feedback. And I suggested to you, I said the party where food is cooked for a crowd to eat and people drink and they are dancing cannot be removed. Maybe we do this with the party and the families that are identified with critical needs, those who have wounds, pregnant women are receiving. I think that would be a better way. So if I want to ask you now before I get a reaction from Barrister Mesa, what are some of the shortcomings from your own experience with this new method? And how do you intend to solve them?
You know, before we sent our handler to travel from settlement to settlement to carry out this outreach, I had personally reached out to some of the leaders just to get an idea of how many people are we talking about. And I got a long, long list of those who are registered in the different settlements. And in the back of my mind, I knew that there's no way that we can be able to attend to each and every one of them. So the decision to help
Now, let me challenge you a little
household.
bit. Don't you think that instead of thinking you can't, you should instead be thinking of how to attend to them? Because it is a responsibility.
Well,
You're telling
let me
Ambazonians,
rephrase. Yes,
yes,
we couldn't, based on the funding that we have at this time.
yeah.
Yes, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that how can we do that next time where everybody benefits? How can we do that next time when everybody benefits? That is a huge challenge. And you're right, it's possible. If somebody sets their mind on doing something, you can do it. Absolutely. So it's going to be something that we have to work together with a team of people and come up with the best possible scenario that could be used to make sure that even if you don't reach 100%, which generally may be the case, you may reach out to 80 to 90% of those in every settlement. So if we're saying that that is a goal for the Department of Women's Service for 2024, then it is a huge, huge goal. And it will only mean that there has to be serious planning on the ground, those who are there, to be able to make sure that they start getting a list going. And also for us in the diaspora to find out the best way to get those fundings. To be honest with you, even if one doesn't reach out to the international community, it only takes dedication for us to raise money. We can say that the Department of Women's Services wants to raise, let me just say, $50,000. I'll just throw that out, $50,000. There will be a formula how you get this $50,000, but it needs individuals that are willing to work hard. It needs hard work, because if we have 50 women, each woman can now aim to raise $1,000, right? Each woman can aim to raise $1,000.
And that makes it 50,000 US dollars. That's big.
Yes, yes.
That can do
So
a
there are methods to get the money, but it needs dedicated people. It needs people with a vision that see what we're trying to accomplish.
And it's collectivism.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm coming to you now, Barrister. I'll come back to you. I'm coming to you now, Barrister Mbesa. You brought up an idea which I think is debatable, and you were trying to tell, or you were advising the women's department to look onto an agency that is the UN agency. The behavior of the UNHCR on the ground is concerning. Remember, I've gotten in contact with you on this a couple of times. When you were the director of immigration, I was also having issues with the UNHCR because their pace was not right. And you advised me. I guess the president put you there at that time. And you know how we went out and how we fought. It would appear that at every level, even when there is war in a particular region like Ambazonia, those who are in need, like us in Ambazonia, our government will have to fight for the UN to speak. I was in a critical situation, fleeing from Cameroon, and I needed the UNHCR to intervene now. You are aware of my story in 2019. And the UNHCR, before they got there, we fought until I went to court. So you know this story. Right now, we have the UNHCR in ground one refusing to even register some of the refugees who are coming in. I followed their report in September. From their report, there's been an increase. Fortunately, they sent out a report attesting that people are still coming in. A huge number came in, which debunks what Cameroon is trying to tell us, that there is return of normalcy. But the UNHCR is saying that only for the year 2023, they have received thousands of people coming in, and they have not even registered all. We have feedback on the ground. We have leaders now in every camp. This reach out from by Dr. Patience has helped us to map out leaders of every settlement. And they are telling us that this is the situation. Talk to us from a legal and diplomatic perspective.
Thank you very much. This is what very often we don't understand. We miss a lot. The UN is a multifaceted organization. It has humanitarian interests and political interests.
Yeah.
And take it home today that if the humanitarian assistance from the UN is put at 5,000, call it Naira, for this year, don't expect it to increase next year. will rather decrease. Why? Because first, they are overstretched. If they were giving our people 5,000 naira or 2,000 naira, and suddenly gathered with millions of people dead, thousands of people, hospitals brought down, they are bound to go there. But that's not just all. You see, people mistake the humanitarian assistance for refugees. Why it goes down all the time. The UN is not going to assist you perpetually as a refugee. As I said earlier, that the war takes about 10 years.
Yeah.
Refugees who stay out for 10 years don't expect the UN every month to come and give you 5,000. They will not do that. Now, they expect you as a refugee over time to start to put your feet on the ground where you are, wherever you are. And so that would take me to what happened last Christmas. Giving people money at Christmas is such a wonderful thing. Because Christmas is something that comes once in a lifetime, once in a year, a new year. And everybody will smile. Every child would love to have a toy. That is very, very good. But we cannot contemplate going to give them money to go and buy rice, to go and buy ground or whatever thing, because we are going to be short of it. If we did it last year, as you have rightly said, the number of refugees has increased today. We're not even able to do it all last year. The number has increased now. We are again going to be less and less able to do it. And so the strategy that is used all over the world, and which is the United Nations, is that refugees, where they are, especially in terms of food, they start to establish themselves where they are, even temporarily, in terms of becoming a little bit self-sufficient in food. And this we can do. I see here we are talking of settlements. There are so many categories of refugees. There are refugees who run to Nigeria or who run to any particular place, and they already know their friends, whoever, where they choose to go and live with them. Those are not in settlements. If they are living with you or with me in my house, small piece of land behind your house, and farm with them. Those ones have a different category. The ones that go into a settlement, let us deal with settlements. We've talked about 3 settlements here. Apparently, they are the ones who are totally helpless. They have nowhere to go. And so they come to this camp, they call it a refugee settlement. They are counted, children, their wives, their husbands, they are there. But what we can do and what we should be trying to do is, in the next 6 months, the next 1 year before next Christmas that will come in, we use call it the people we call handlers on the ground. If people in settlement A are 50 and we'll send them 10 million naira, could we be able to get 5 million naira? Because that 10 million naira is given to them now. It's finished. If it's still there today, they're lucky. The eating at Christmas is gone. But if there's 5 million there, can we rent it for them there? So that those in the camp, the women who are there, put them and plant cassava, plant vegetable, whatever thing they can plant. That would have helped us in the terms of food. And then we should then remain, if you must spend money there, for example, you find some of them who are sick, who are handicapped, who go to the hospitals. If our financial cash, because we go to the hospital, you're not going to give a bunch of plantain for your hospital bill. If our cash is limited to those people, and maybe to giving gifts at the end of the year, that's Christmas and New Year, that would have gone a long way to do it. 90% of the refugees are people who were farmers, who were peasant farmers in their communities. When the women went to the farm, farmed whatever thing they ate in their own local community. So they have not lost those skills. They still have the skills with them. And so if going forward, we exploit this possibility, that will reduce our burden. Again, let us understand, there is no way this government, or anyone in the world, is going to be in competition with the international human rights, United Nations organization. No, we're not in competition with them. They are helping us. They are helping us. So we are not in competition with them. The responsibility is ours. And then they assist us. And so that is how it goes. Again, let me respond to Nelson Ochiba. The level of reasoning of that woman sitting there in a refugee camp is not the same like ours in the United States or in London or wherever we might find ourselves. Yes, they may say this is the first time we receive money from President Sako. That's okay. There's no problem about that. We know that. We are aware. We all know that. We saw, for example, Kumeta not too long ago in Nigeria. The money came from us. I don't know if they don't receive money from Sako. Where else do they receive money from? I'm not aware of any of these multifaceted governments, Marienta, and whoever who is doing what. So let us forget the niceties of what they call it. That's what they see before their eyes now. Whether they call it first time, second time, or 10th time is not material. It is that that woman receiving that money is going back home today, clapping and praying to God. Thank God, this is my child. Thank God, this is my sisters. Thank God, this is my children, or whoever they call us, has given me Christmas food. That's important. That's what is important. Don't go to the niceties. Somebody might have had a miscommunication. That's what is important. Satisfy them. It takes time for the day to get done. They will realize it. They are realizing it, where it is coming from. If Anu went to Nigeria and we saw him in Nigeria with some money, it was some money they stole. Let them go a second, a third, and fourth time. That's okay. There's no problem with that. The refugees need help. Let Komota go 20 more times if you can raise money. Since they're not doing it, let us do the best we can. Again, the United Nations is a complicated organization. If you don't go in through the, it is so difficult. You might go in through the General Assembly. If you don't go in through this one, you might go in through the Human Rights Commission. Because there's so many things involved. So you're just going to get a piece of the pie. And you will get it. There are so many different entry points, as I said earlier. If you go to that woman's group, it is not United Nations General Assembly, it is not the Security Council, it is not the humanitarian group. You might break through and get something that you did not expect ever to get. Through them, we can even get our cause. So, because the voice of a woman is important. How many of us knew Arikana, this woman that we all glorify today? But because she's a woman, many men are saying similar things, but that woman's voice carries a lot. And so women have a compelling voice. They have an emotional appeal to make to those who did not even consider an issue an issue. So let us explore all these possibilities. The blame game should not be ours. If the international community humanitarian group did not help us, so be it. We'll let pass through another door because blaming them is not going to make them change. But getting through the back door, we might force them to do what they did not do yesterday. Somebody might talk to them and they understand you better than understood me when I talk to them. And so that is how it is. What you say about the reports from Yaoundé, that is what Yaoundé will always do. You cannot prevent them from doing that. They always say that everything is going back to normal. That's the political way. They are never going to come publicly to confess that they are on their backs on the wall. They will never do that. And so that is part of the game. Again, we must understand how the United Nations functions. We must understand our role. We have to bargain for our people. It doesn't cost us much if we try and fail. At least there's no fee for trying. Just try.
Yeah.
We may fail 10 times, succeed once. Again, the money that the UN gives is always going to diminish, never going to increase. In most cases, it will diminish because of the limited resources, because of the other programs that are coming all around the world.
Pastor Bessa, I'm not cutting you short, but before I go back to Dr. Patience, I want to ask you something. Don't you think, like you said, it's a multifaceted organization where it has a humanitarian interest and a political interest. So, do you think and agree with me that one of the reasons why the UN agencies are acting the way they're acting is probably because of Cameroon lobbying the organization to undermine the collateral humanitarian damage that we are facing? And therefore, because if not, why are they? Because you're talking about refugees integrating into a system, trying to fend for themselves. One of the ways that they have to integrate is to have these multinational or global institutions collaborate with governments to identify them, to give them cards and get them integrated. But if we have a chunk of refugees who are told by agency members of the UNHCR to return back home and refusing to identify them, it makes them their resettlement and integration into the new society automatically complicated. So this is another complex part of it all. I'm not in other way being
No, it's not
trying to
complex. It's not complex. It's not complex. If the Republic will go and take a World Bank loan to dissuade that information of refugees coming from their country, to bribe, they just put it like that, they would. That's within their legitimate right. They would, because if it means nothing, they will send empty trucks to go to Nigeria and bring those people back to Manfe or to Akwa, wherever they might be. Even if it means that the people will die there, they will do that. They will do that all the time. Like, I'm not advocate for the United Nations not doing their job. I just want us to understand how it functions. We must understand the hurdles that we have. We have the hurdles of, again, I've always said this thing. There is no United Nations agency that you are going to go there as ambassadors where the people is not yet there. They have diplomatic representation there. They're already there. So we have an uphill task. They are members of all these organizations officially, like most countries around the world. And so you are trying to come in direct to them. They are there to pretend that nothing is going wrong with them. I've given this example before. We have known people even back at home, in your own family brothers, where somebody is quarreling, the woman is quarreling with her husband, or a man is quarreling with his wife. And people were cousins, uncles, say, want to go and hear the problem. What's going on with this? The man goes, say, I know the problem with my woman. I know the problem with my wife. I know any man from my house. So, and in some extreme cases, the woman ends up dying. There was a problem there, but the man wants to show that he's a man. He has no problem with his wife. He will make all that, even if it means doing anything. That is the nature of human beings. Once we
So
understand this,
specifically
we know
and
how to,
briefly,
we know how to
what
tackle them.
Pastor Mbesa, specifically and briefly, what would you ask us as an institution or the government that is the leader of this movement to do? Because we, at the end of the day, should stand for our people. From a legal
I just said,
perspective, what are some of the legal
I just said,
approaches we?
I said not too long ago that if they went, for example, into these women, UN women, they could get something. And I said that you need an organization. If, for example, we contacted them and said, look, the world knows that we have this crisis. They can go and find
No, I'm
it.
talking about
And say,
registering people in Ground One. No, Barrister Mbesa.
let me
We
finish.
are
No,
fighting
I'm not talking about
all these
registering. I'm not talking
in
about.
Ground One has
I'm not talking about
to
registering. I'm not talking about registering.
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain how we can do some of the things. If we go into those women's group of the UN and say, look, we have this chunk of people. Doesn't matter. The UN has registered some refugees. They have, for example, 200 in Adagon, 150 in this other camp. What about these three camps there? Two women have been there for 7 years. They need to survive. They can work farms. We have identified a portion of land where they can rent for 10 million naira. 10 million naira is nothing in dollars. Can you help us rent this piece of land for this woman? Show them the pictures of the woman. Someone can write a check for 10 million naira is no money. It's probably, I don't know how many, 5,000 francs, $5,000. Somebody can do that. If you do it all for once, we know that we're settled with a Dagon settlement. If they do it for 3, that's great. And so that is how we can exploit them. We must have the tools to convince them. We must continue to push. Whereas the UN workers, some of them might have been bribed, and they are telling people to go back home. We must have something on the ground to circumvent that. To say this man has come and said this. This report showing that people are coming in, and these workers are saying this. Some of them will lose their jobs. So our people on the ground, not necessarily refugees, those who are handling issues for
So
them.
generally, you're telling us to improvise and to be proactive. And this leads me to the question I want to take to Dr. Patience. You yourself would have identified a problem that would help you to approach organizations and to take advantage of the system within the United States. We need an NGO, probably a 501c organization. What is stopping you at the head of the women's department to champion an initiative? It's been a year that you've been complaining. This is not the first time you're complaining. Do you think that this past 1 year you would have wasted it instead of doing something rather than looking at the problem but providing a solution?
Well, yes, we've had this conversation, Director Paddy, and it's a fair question that what is stopping me as the leader of the Department of Women's Service from doing something, creating an NGO. Well, I really don't want to pour our dirty linen in public, as you would say, because we already have an NGO called Hope Relief Foundation. Personally, I believe that if it's an initiative of the government, then we need to have some key leaders to sit down and strategize how to get an NGO that doesn't appear as a political body to benefit Southern Cameroonians. It doesn't have to be something from the Department of Women's Services. Because if it's something that comes only from the Department of Women's Services, then other departments frown against it. It has to be a policy of the government to create something. And to do that, key partners, maybe somebody from education and strategic planning, somebody from Health and Human Services, somebody from the Department of Women's Services, and some other people that have the knowledge, the wherewithal, how 501Cs are created, to sit down and strategize on how to do that. I'm for it. So if you, Director Paddy, wants for us to start something and get other people together this January 2024 and plan so that by the end of 2024, we've progressed to a point where we will have an NGO for this government. I'm for it.
I want to fixate my question to you.
Yes.
Instead of crying over spilled milk, do you think you're wasting time to be proactive?
Well, I just answered your question. Yes, you say instead of crying over spilled milk, the spilled milk is that we had 2 things that have gone who knows where. You know, there was Hope Relief Foundation, it's gone. So it's spilled milk. So right now we're proceeding. How do we get another one that is something that is an initiative of the government of Southern Cameroon, not an initiative of the Department of Women's Services. Because if it's an initiative of the Department of Women's Services, there may be problems down the road where the government may not have access to it as something that belongs to the government. So I think that something can be done and should be done to create something. For a time being, I would say that on air, 2021 specifically, my husband was willing to help the Department of Women's Service create an NGO. That was his goal because he's done this before. I was not very, very pleased with it because I was afraid of the financial ramifications, because we needed somebody that will be in charge of the fundings. And I don't want my personal name to be there where money is coming and I'm in charge. We needed somebody neutral. Even if we have to pay somebody, even if the government has to pay somebody, that is better. But thank God something went awry. He didn't do that. And maybe that is God watching over us. He didn't complete that task that he was willing to do it. So now we come back to it again, all January 2024. Let the government find a way to create this NGO that will have a neutral name that is not politically affiliated, and we can have so much support from the international community, working with the international community to help our people. So I throw that back to you. You throw it at me. Let's find a way to work on it.
Barrister Mbesa, I'm coming to you. We're going to deviate a little bit, and then we'll come to conclude this program. The former administration under President Sisiko Julius Ayuk Tabe, and by the way, I want to say congratulations to you, President Sisiko Julius Ayuk Tabe, of becoming the first GCOM, that is the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. The people of Ambazonia, under the leadership of President Sako, thought that your leadership in 2017 was worthwhile, and you did a good job. And just to read the words, I know why I'm taking us away, because it's intricately linked to what Dr. Patience has just said. I want to read the exact words of President Sako so that there is no misquoting of it. But then there's something that's not in this write-up as released by the president of Ambazonia. He said, I was actually producing the program, and the president said something which is not in this write-up. I'm going to say it. He says, we recognize Mr. Ayuk Tabe Julius for what he has done for Ambazonia. What he did cannot be undone by what he did wrong after. His great accomplishment cannot be forgotten. He led the people of Ambazonia in proclaiming the restoration of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. He launched the fight we are in today. What a humble president we have. He's not trying to take credit for what he didn't do. He deserves to be recognized. I hereby honor him with a medal of Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. So congratulations once again, Sisiko. But this is where my question is leading, Barrister Mbesa. What Dr. Patience is suggesting could be a part of some of Sisiko's policy. His administration came into defense or got involved with defense in a very different way. Their initiative, from my very close watch and study, was the policy of plausible deniability, meaning that we are taking into defense, probably helping our fighters on the ground, but we do not want to take responsibility directly for the complications that it could have with our diplomacy, and therefore we would separate defense from government. Now, you may want to touch a little bit on that. Dr. Patience is saying that if the government will participate in the humanitarian endeavor indirectly, it could bring more resources. It could drive more resources into their initiatives. Talk to us, Barrister Mesa. You are the best person to technically analyze this.
Let me say this. In struggle, the departments or the areas where money is needed every day throughout the struggle is defense and humanitarian, the refugees, because they remain out there. They are human beings. They get sick and they die. They need food. They need to go to hospital. Their children need to go to school. So their own demands are permanently out there. I don't want to waste my time discussing what Sisiko said or did not say before he got adopted in 2018. It has been 6 years today. So whatever thing he did not do or did, we cannot blame the present problems on him. We have to take the bull by the horns. Now, back to what we were discussing about. I'm not very familiar with how the NGOs that we have been working. But one thing is important, that I'm the one who recommended that we should go to the UN Women. There's no organization that you go there and they will promise to give you money and they write a check in the name of patients. They will never do that.
Absolutely.
You write a check in the name of your patient.
Yeah.
And so if we don't have that organization, because if we found one and what a website, I said this woman need farm tools. You shoot 20, 30 women standing in the bush there clearing with the cutlass. They need money to buy seeds. The women, refugees. Somebody will quickly say, well, those are them there. They need money to rent more land. They need $10,000. They need this, they need this, they need this. Somebody will write a check in the name of that organization, having seen the pictures. Because we're not going to carry them to Adegon to say, Suez. We put those pictures there. These people are sick. You show the picture of that power with the free hand. It's there. So do something in the name of that organization. But not in the name of party, not in the name of Mr. Mbesa. No, they don't do it like that in international business. They put their money and be sure that it goes to where it is supposed to go. We're just lucky that we have good handlers down there. You send that 10 million naira, they go and give it. There have been occasions where money was sent like that and the people stole it. That's a fact.
Right.
So we have to improve on what 24. If we do not have these organizations, I would suggest, Madam, we go back to the government, to the president, and we'll explore ways. It's not enough to talk about party. We need some better thinking, collective thinking about those things, and see what we can create going forward. Again,
Absolutely.
the refugee problem is not going to, even if the war ended today, we'll still do another 5 years to repatriate refugees. So it's going to last for long. They will still continue to be their children will still need to go to school. And there are so many organizations conceived around the world. So many individuals who are just humanitarian givers who would do. But we have to get the structure. That's why I said we have to do our research first. That's why I started by saying this. We have to get what we want to give out. The basic structures have to be there. Let us try to see how we can do it. Why doing what we're doing? The women have done so much. The popular use book, that was individual effort. I bought a copy. They're not even making profits out of it. Whatever money came in, is going to this humanitarian thing. People are no longer buying the books because we by ourselves, we don't have the culture of reading. So people don't buy. I bought a copy. I'm not going to buy a second copy because I want to give money. No. So let us explore all these possibilities. I've said again right here, it does not cost us anything to explore and fail. We're not paying taxes for exploration. We don't just try it. If it doesn't work, we'll try another one. There used to be some, if I want you don't succeed, try again. That's the
Absolutely.
principle that we should have. Let us do it, taking note of where we have failed before, taking note of the concerns. Madam is so lucky, and we're so lucky to have people like her who have their husbands. She's not there alone. Who are prepared to be committed, prepared to give more, even in terms of ideas. We don't have many people who are doing that. Remember that you and me wasting all our time sitting here, we're volunteers. Nobody's paying you for that. So let us explore all this. If we were not explored in the past, let us explore it now. For me, personally, I bother myself with physical. For me, like Tasang said, I consider physical contained by some form down the road. He cannot give any valuable contribution. The four ways to give something very positive that you rely on is expect prisoner in the world. They have to bother them there as prisoners. Before going to prison, they're in prison, they have children. You have to worry them. To burden them with all these other things again. They might pretend to want to eat, but I consider it a very heavy burden already. I don't want to waste my time talking about Sako. He earned a word which the president gave him. So be it. Again, I consider him politically dead, and the rest of them were in jail. Not because they don't have good ideas, not because they did a bad thing now. Circumstances have put them out of action, put out of action by stupidly or whatever thing, getting them into the jail. But the people are not stupid. And since this is a public program, I've heard it is what I'm saying. We are dealing with a regime in Yaoundé, which is a very, very wicked regime. We have heard them set their economic on their knees. That's a fact. Why are they on their knees? Why is Sonora not producing? Sonora got burnt. We have not heard a report about the Sonora burning. Somebody burnt down Sonora. Not because they hated Yaoundé, but because they realized, they believed that that was 2001, I think. The war was at the peak. They realized that Ambazonians are gone. They want to go back home, leaving Ambazonia with the shell of a refinery. That's their whole goal. Otherwise, what is need subsidizing gas higher than repairing Sonara? Somebody bent it down. A bulumana, guys, because they're the one working there. But that's the strategy. Because we talk about economic, all this. Ambazonia produces a lot for Yaoundé. But the bulk of that money that goes to the treasury in Yaoundé comes from the southwest, comes from Sonara, comes from Pamor. A lot of things that come from the northwest are consumable things. But these are things that fetch cash. The banana plantations of the cities are virtually closed down. Nobody working there. How people working there, they are gone. And so these people are very wicked people. We have to look at them as they are. And we have to look at them beyond the screen that we see. Let us strategize our own way. Do it knowing that we are facing a fundamental obstacle. Yaoundé, the wicked lion. So that's how it is. The Sisikus, I always pray for them to be released, and I always said, the only way you can get out by yourself is to escape. They did not understand me. Yaoundé could not spend fortune to go and arrest you from Nigeria and can't treat you, make you a friend here in prison. Never, never, never. So let us strategize as we move on this 2024. What we did not do in 2023, we might do. What we did, we can improve on it and do it better. Having in mind that this war, as I said earlier, it was never going to end within 10 years. We're in the 7th year now, and even if it ends in the 10th year, the refugee program will last again for another 5 years because they will not just pack the cargo and come back the next day. So let us only explore the possibilities of what will help us. What people, what intellectuals, technicians among ourselves, who can do all these things? They just need to be involved.
Yeah.
If we cannot create a new organization, call it NGO, let us explore within our financial system, the structure that we have, to see if we can tap in something somewhere in the name of humanitarian. Call it just for women. You can even call it women. Right? Where someone can write a check for this group for women, that they can write for women, another man can write for HSS. All those things, the checks will still go to the same people. They will feel
So it's all
one for the
about
women and
it's all
one
about
for men.
it's all about it centers on one thing. It's all about us being creative and opting for different ways to mobilize your resources as the challenges keep rising. Dr. Patience, the baton falls on you as we get to a conclusion. My question here is, what is there for? I'm sure if you had a blueprint before you came to this program, you would have been considering changing your mindset and all the things you would like to do as a department. So my question is, what is your blueprint for 2024? What you had in your mind? Do you consider changing or shifting position and stop waiting or grumbling or complaining? Do you consider ameliorating, taking a step forward and just taking the initiative, not necessarily bringing the politicking of conversation? For instance, you know the way I work, I don't
It's
like
frozen
that. If I
somehow.
think something is right, sometimes I just proactively will want to do it. And even if you get people together, sometimes you still get criticisms. You need this thing so badly. You have a heart to reach to many more thousands of refugees. Come Easter, come May 20th, come Refugee Day in June 20th, come 1st October, come Christmas, and you need several thousands of dollars. Ambazonians will want to be sure, even the international community watching us today would like to know that you are a visionary and you're proactive. People, whatever complaint you give, nobody cares. I remember the president saying this one town hall. Nobody cares when you would have failed. It's a time for you to think of doing something. What will be your blueprint? I would say skeleton of it, because this is probably a question you didn't plan for. This is 2024. What do you intend to do in actuality? What should Ambazonians be expecting? And how can the people of Ambazonia be involved? Talk to us in conclusion, please.
Thank you so much for that question. And before I answer it, I want to appreciate Barrister Besa for what he has said. And I just want to make you all understand that in the past, I have spoken to some very benevolent donors who are not really interested in giving handouts. They want to empower people. So I do appreciate the line of thought of Barrister Besa when he mentioned that people need to be empowered. In fact, we have even coined phrases like refugee empowerment program, just like we coined widows empowerment programs. So refugee empowerment programs could be and will be on the blueprint of the Department of Women's Services. In order to accomplish that, we would have to sort out ways of getting funding from the international community. That is the main goal of the Department of Women's Services for 2024. How do we reach out to the international community to get funding? Now, it is tricky if we embark on such a goal without having an NGO. Just like Barrister Besa said, an international community or person will not give money for me to help the refugees under my name. They want to give it under an organization. So in the first quarter of 2024, we would have to partner with existing NGOs to help our people. But then, as you said, you don't believe in just sitting down and doing nothing, then it behooves me to make that first call to reach out to some key stakeholders, including the president as the leadership, to find out how to create another NGO that doesn't have any political connotations, because that's what we need. But it takes a while for that to be achieved in such a way that we can get funding into the government through that NGO. So we have a lot of work for us to do. Secondly, though, sometimes in life, you have to take care of your own people. What do I mean by that? If I am donating funding to my church to help whatever causes I'm giving for church, because I know that there's a write-up at the end of the year, I should be able to donate so much money for the cause of Ambazonia through another organization. What I'm saying is that those of us who are Ambazonians, should be able to allocate so much money for humanitarian purposes right at the beginning of the year. You have to set some goals that in 2024, I plan to donate $500, $1,000, whatever it may be, or more, at least, for humanitarian purposes. Also, our people have means of reaching out to the international community at a smaller level. What I mean by that is you can reach out to individuals to get small amounts of money, $20 here, $10 here, $50 here. These are money that people are giving that they don't really care about a statement to say that, oh, I gave money to this person for this cause, but they all add up, meaning that one person can be able to raise $1,000 for 2024 initiatives by just reaching out to many people to give small sums of money. I think that is one of our goals also. And to conclude, we have to work to balance those two, where we have our individual initiatives to reach out to people to get small sums of money that add up, and also to reach out to organizations to get big sums of money for big initiatives. So I guess I'm saying at this beginning of the year 2024, January, that we have set the goal so high and we have to work hard to get to that, to meet that goal, to be able to help our people, knowing that this is a long-term problem. Barrister has already explained that average time for a war is about 10 years. And after that, even then, it will take some time for refugees to be resettled back home. So this is a long-term initiative, and we need to be smart about it and be able to reach out to international bodies that can assist us on this journey. I hope I answered your question.
Amazing. Barrister Besa, please. The ball is now on your court.
Yeah, I think Madam has given a very technical answer, which is very, very good. If we had something at that website Yes, individuals will donate. And some of us, good number of us go to church. If you take that website to your own church, just your own church, and say, look at our children in Nigeria suffering. They are dying. Look at our women. We need to help them buy tools. We need some money to help them buy books. They can make a church collection of even $500 will come in. That is to me to compare to nothing, as compared to nothing. So, as I said before, this is 2024, and as you have said, we have to improve on what we did here. And then we have to initiate where we did not initiate. I think she has given a very good answer. I could not expect her to do more than that, having had this question just come up now, unprepared. But I think it is technically very, very correct. Let us remain focused. Let us remain encouraged. We are not completely lost, but always have behind our mind that we have a very big hill to climb, and we're climbing. We're not yet down at the bottom of the hill. We're somewhere in the middle. We're climbing. The enemy will not just go away. Enemies don't go away like that. If you want to buy a mosquito net, the mosquito will look for a way to come and bite you and put you malaria. And so that's where we are. Humanitarian, too important. Refugees, very important. Old people and children, very important. If we show those pictures I've said before, they will attract a lot of sympathy from people we never expect. Let us improve on what we have. And just for the time being, stop blaming people. Look for a way to circumvent those who don't support you rather than blame them. All the Amazonians or all Africans can go and blame the United Nations humanitarian team. That will change nothing. That will change nothing. So let us explore how to do it. The people who are doing the bad job for the UN group in Nigeria are Nigerians. They are not different from Cameroonians. They are corrupt people. Corruption mantra of Africans in general. Give a Nigerian 5 naira, 10 naira, oh, they can do what they will not do anywhere. The humanitarian thing is just a name. People who are individuals. In corrupt companies, they remain corrupt. But we have to circumvent them. We have to corrupt people and know how to defeat them in their act of try this. They make the organization bad. It's just an organization. Human beings work there and they come there with their corruption. And so you have to understand this. Go ahead, fight, try. If we fail today, try next time until we must succeed somehow. Thank you for having me today. I just guess I've contributed something that people would like to rely on. And hopefully 2024 going forward will be much improved. Instead of giving people 10 million naira for Christmas next year, we'll give 20. This strategy is applied. Instead of having 20 faces laughing, we'll have 30. That's the whole deal. This war ends. Thank you, Paddy.
Amazing. Dr. Patience, you initiated this project. I'm sure I did not overwhelm you with some questions, but please, and briefly, is there anything you want to say with your team, to the team, your donors? That's a very important aspect we should not miss for anything as
Absolutely.
they enjoy these beautiful images. Is there anything you would like to tell all those who participated at different levels to make this
Absolutely.
Christmas outreach a success? Please do that, please.
Absolutely. I was going to stop you if you were going to end the show without giving me this opportunity to appreciate the donors. I will start by the women of the Department of Women's Services. We are about 40 active women in a fora. About 50 of us that are active in the interim government. Out of these 50, 40 of them actively participated, either by giving their own minimum contribution of $50 or raise funds. I want to appreciate them because it's a team effort. It is really a team effort. And there were some women that I feel compelled to mention their name. These are people that are already in the struggle. They are not afraid if their names are out there, but I will mention their names here that went far and beyond to raise a lot of money. I'll start with Ma Mildred Chi. She raised a lot of money for us. Then Mamu raised a lot. So these are people that raised over $500. Mamu raised over $500. And even Mamu herself gave the money from her own pocket. Ma Eli raised a lot of money. Ma Ben raised a lot of money. Ma Constance A raised a lot of money. Ma Victorine. And I'm giving the names of people that are comfortable with their names being read. I don't want to read, and these are people that have been with us and we've seen them on television and they are not afraid. So I'm just appreciating them in the open. There are some other women that gave a lot of money and I don't feel that I should call out their names. I also want to appreciate some of our men donors who gave money to support the department. There's some of our husbands, our brothers, like Dr. Fred Lobadi, really has helped our department. Dr. Mopecha also helped our department with large amounts of money. And my better half, Dr. Julius Abiodi also. So these are the three top men that gave a lot of money to the department. We received about 27 individuals, men and women, gave $100 to us. About 11 individuals gave between $150 to $299. About 50 individuals gave between $50 and $75. You're all appreciated. And we got a huge donation from a group in Southern California where I reside. They gave us $892. And I want to appreciate them, the women of this group in Southern California, Los Angeles. I want to appreciate them. I want to also say that we got fundings from people that are not our typical Ambazonia family. These are Southern Cameroonians that want to assist refugees. We reached out to them, and a lot of them supported us with $50, $100, or even $150. We thank you all. We also thank our international supporters. I want to really appreciate the Deputy Secretary, Mapru, because she was able to get fundings from non-Ambazonians, from people that are where she lives, that gave $100, $50, $150, $200. I want to appreciate her for her fundraising effort for this initiative. So what I'm saying here is that we are one big family. Those who are on the fence, those who are diehard Ambazonians, those that say that one thing, as long as you believe that the refugees need assistance, that there are people that are wounded soldiers, wounded warriors, IDPs, that they need assistance, continue supporting the cause. Keep politics aside and support the cause. Because one day, you never know who is that person that you are helping. That could be a family member or family friend that has found themselves in dire straits. I want to thank ABC Amber TV for helping us facilitating this initiative. We worked as a partner to make sure that everybody in the camps, in Calabar, in Okende, Adagon 1, Adagon 2, Ikuijin, which we forgot to mention Ikuijin, that they all were able to get something because of our trusted handlers. You remember Barrister said that sometimes you can give money and the money gets stolen or gets lost. What do you do? But thank God, when you work with people that are God-fearing, things go right. So as we conclude this program, I'm just saying that Ambazonians, friends of Ambazonians, please be open. Never feel tired of giving. If you gave $50 last year, plan to give $100 this year. If you give $100, plan to give $200. Double your effort because it's going for a good cause. Thank you so much, Paddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again for recognizing the efforts that we have been able to do. It has been a wonderful day. Thank you for accepting. You should be celebrating with family, for accepting to be with us to have this program. I want to say a very, 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 very big thank you. And fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you who are probably watching us at the home front and in different parts of the world, we have come to a reasonable conclusion of this program, and we kickstart the week from tomorrow, giving you snippets of the president's speech and analyzing them strategically. So as we come to the end of today's show, I can't help but feel a mix of emotions. The topic of the humanitarian crisis and the impact of the war on the people of Ambazonia or Southern Cameroons is something that weighs heavy on our hearts. We've delved into the policies of the Ambazonian government under the leadership of President Sako and discussed the challenges facing the Department of Women's Services. I hope that through our discussions, you have gained a deeper understanding of the struggles faced by the people of Ambazonia at this time. And you would join us in the crusade of long-term solutions that have been suggested. It's moments like these that remind us of power of knowledge, the importance of coming together to seek change. As we wrap up today's show, let us carry this knowledge we've all gained and continue to educate ourselves, our global issues, continue to partner. Together we can make a difference. So I would like to say thank you. Thank you for joining the program. We have reports on the situation that happened in Aziri, the Presbyterian Church, that had a capacity of over 1,000 civilians, and they were victims of carnage. Cameroon is claiming normalcy. I hope all CPDM loyalists who are in the church can come to tell us what is happening. This is something we grew up never seen in Ambazonia. On Saturday, we will be scanning through and probably getting into some of the intrigues and intricacies and cliches of the president, the octogenarian of neighboring French Cameroon, in comparison with the vision laid out for us this year by the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, President Sako, who is telling us that this year is a year we have to be focused as Ambazonians. So Saturday program Ambazonia this week with the barristers and other panelists of interest is not one of the shows that you would want to miss for anything in the world. To that, I would say thank you for tuning in. We did not announce this program, but you turned out in your numbers, excitedly participating and sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, it's been Tapper King. Have a good night.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC